Trigger warning. This episode contains discussion of violence and post-mortem concealment that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. A missing woman in Vallejo, California.
The body of a missing woman has been found hid inside the wall of a home.
Her phone, abandoned on a school roof. A home was searched, but what they missed would shock everyone. Her name was Renia Lewis. She was just 28 years old, and in the days after she vanished, the truth came out. In this episode, we walk through the timeline, from her disappearance to the shocking discovery that left a community shaken. This is Under Investigation. I'm Sleuthy Lucy, and this is Under Investigation, where we highlight active and ongoing cases still developing in the news. Here's what we've uncovered so far. Today's episode is sponsored by Aura, a comprehensive service that protects you and your loved ones from those who wish to exploit your trust online. Ever get one of those strange text messages from USPS saying they have a package for you? Click this link to confirm. USPS never sends those types of messages. That's spam from scammers who likely got your information from a data broker or a leak on the dark web. Do you know how much of your personal information is out there? Your full name, phone number, home address, email, even details about your relatives can be sold to scammers, like the ones behind that USPS text message. That's why I turned to Aura. Aura not only monitors your information on the dark web, but it also automatically sends opt-out requests to data brokers on your behalf. It has helped me remove my information from over 18 data brokers, and even alerted me that one of my email addresses was found on the dark web. With Aura, I also enjoy features like antivirus, VPN, password management, and identity theft insurance, all in one affordable package. If you sign up through my link right now at aura.com/sleuthylucy, Aura will give you a 2-week free trial. For a more direct route, click the link in the description below. On Friday, September 26, 2025, 28-year-old Renia Lewis suddenly stopped responding to calls and messages. For her family, that silence stretched into a long and anxious weekend. By Sunday, her phone was found abandoned on the roof of a school in Vallejo, California. And only days later, investigators would make a disturbing discovery inside a hidden wall, one they described as heinous and heartbreaking. This is a developing story, and what follows reflects everything we know right now. Let's take a closer look at the timeline. Renia's mother, Terry Lewis, said she texted her daughter Friday, but never got a response. At first, she assumed Renia had simply put her phone on Do Not Disturb, as she often did when resting. But as the hours passed, that silence became more unsettling. After reaching out to her daughter's best friend, and learning she hadn't heard from Renia in days either, Terry's concern grew. That's when she turned to a phone tracking app, Life 360. The signal pointed to a neighborhood in Vallejo on 14th Street. The family didn't wait. That night, and into the early hours of Saturday, the family went to the address themselves. They knocked, searched the area, and called her phone, but there was no trace of Renia. As the hours stretched into the daylight of Saturday, their worry only deepened. They had followed the digital trail as far as it went, but without Renia answering, they knew something was wrong. That's when they called for help. The family explained they had no connection to the home or its residents, though it wasn't unusual for Renia to visit Vallejo, where she had friends and relatives. Using her phone's location data, they directed officers to the address, and Vallejo police went to conduct a welfare check. When Vallejo police arrived at the 14th Street property, they carried out what they later described as a cursory search. The conditions inside made it difficult. The home was cluttered and chaotic, more like a hoarder's home than a typical residence. Rooms were stacked with belongings, creating endless places where someone could be concealed. Officers looked through closets and common spaces, but found no sign of Renia. The search that day was brief, Police left without finding Renia. For her family, that wasn't enough. They remained convinced she was nearby. On Sunday, September 28th, the family formally filed a missing persons report. Renia's information was entered into the state database, and the case was handed over to detectives. This is the date Vallejo police cite as the official start of her missing person investigation. But the family didn't stop. On Sunday, they canvassed the neighborhood themselves. Following the same phone signal, Renia's boyfriend eventually found her device, discarded on the roof of an abandoned school building, according to her mother. The discovery deepened their fears and underscored the urgency of finding her. As concern mounted, authorities escalated the case. On Monday, September 29th, an ebony alert was activated, even though Renia didn't meet the usual criteria. The California Highway Patrol approved the request, and the FBI joined the case to provide additional support. The Ebony Alert is a relatively new system in California, launched in January of 2024. It was created to help locate missing Black youth and Black women between the ages of 12 and 25 who might not meet the strict criteria for an Amber Alert. Like Amber and Silver Alerts, it pushes notifications through freeway signs, media broadcasts, and digital channels, a way to rally the public when time matters most. In Renia's case, the Ebony Alert showed that officials were taking her disappearance seriously, but even with the alert active, she was still nowhere to be found. The following day, on Tuesday, September 30th, investigators returned to the 14th Street property, this time with a search warrant in hand. Behind the main house stood a detached unit. It was cluttered and difficult to navigate, much like the rest of the property. In the attic of that unit, officers noticed something unusual, a wall that didn't match the others. On closer inspection, it revealed itself to be a false wall. Behind it, concealed inside a narrow crawl space, they found the remains of 28-year-old Renia Lewis. Local media later reported that her body had been dismembered. Family members, including her mother Terry, were at the scene when her daughter's body was discovered. Family members added another chilling observation. They said windows in the unit were busted, and they believed Renia may have been trying to escape. Police, however, have not publicly confirmed that detail. Authorities called the crime heinous and heartbreaking. Her family put it another way. Renia, they said, had been nailed behind a wall.
When they found her body behind the wall. They nailed her body behind the wall.
The detached unit where Renia was found wasn't abandoned. It was being used as the living space of 41-year-old Douglas Irwin Shaw. Later that same day, Tuesday, September the 30th, Vallejo police located Shaw at his job, a mechanic shop inside Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. He was taken into custody without incident and booked into Solano County Jail. Family members said investigators described Shaw as cooperative once in custody. In their words, he admitted to killing Renia. He also admitted to throwing her phone onto the roof of a nearby school, a detail that explained the strange signal her mother had tracked days earlier.
The person that they have in custody is being cooperative, stated that he did indeed kill Renia. He threw her phone on top of the school. That's the most information that I have.
By the end of the day, Shaw had been formally charged with murder. Court records show Shaw remains in custody without bail. Beyond the arrest itself, more about Douglas Shaw began to emerge. Court records show that in 2023, a woman obtained a restraining order against him, citing harassment and unwanted contact. Her father later described Shaw as a narcissist and a predator. Police also stressed that Shaw was not Renia's boyfriend. Despite rumors online, investigators clarified there was no confirmed romantic relationship between the two. Family members told reporters only that Renia and Shaw may have recently met. For Renia's family, the discovery was devastating. They had spent the weekend tracking her phone, knocking on doors, and searching the neighborhood themselves. One relative described Shaw simply as a monster. Her mother, Terry, said she collapsed when detectives delivered the news. Loved ones remembered Renia as vibrant and family-oriented, someone who loved to cook, who was always in touch, and who was the youngest daughter in a close-knit family.
Renia was the best loving person. The girl loved to cook. She loved her family.
But their grief has been compounded by cruelty. Since sharing missing person flyers with Terry's phone number, the family said they have received numerous prank calls from people pretending to be Renia, luring her mother to false addresses, or even demanding money. Through all of this, they've asked for privacy, prayers, and justice, not only for Renia, but for other Black women whose disappearances often don't receive the urgency and attention they deserve. Even with an arrest, there are still gaps in what we know. What specifically led to the search warrant? Police haven't disclosed what information allowed them to return with a warrant on Tuesday. Family members had found Renia's phone discarded on a school roof Sunday, but investigators have not confirmed whether that discovery was the turning point. What was the nature of Renia's connection to Shaw? Police have said they were not in a relationship, though family indicated they may have recently met. Exactly how they crossed paths and why she was at that property remains unclear. What happened inside the detached unit? Family members believe Renia may have fought to escape, citing busted windows. Police have not verified that claim. When exactly did Renia die? The timeline between Friday, when she stopped responding, and Tuesday, when she was found, is still unresolved. Were there missed opportunities? During Saturday's welfare check, officers did not find Renia, despite the phone signal pointing to the property. Some will ask whether more could have been done that day. Others point out that the hoarded conditions may have made her discovery nearly impossible without a warrant. Autopsy results. Officials have not yet released findings on the cause and manner of death. Those results may fill in critical gaps in the timeline and in how investigators build their case. Douglas Shaw is currently being held without bail at Solano County Jail. On Thursday, October 2nd, Shaw, the father of 2 girls, appeared in Solano County Superior Court for arraignment. He did not enter a plea, and Judge Jeffrey C. Kaufman rescheduled the matter for October 9th in Fairfield. Shaw is charged with the murder of 28-year-old Renia Lewis and with using a knife to kill her. Chief Deputy Public Defender Dan Messner represented Shaw during the hearing, while Deputy District Attorney Bill Ainsworth represented the Solano County DA's office. Judge Kaufman denied a request by Shaw's attorney to exclude media coverage, though he indicated he may reconsider for future hearings. In the courtroom that day, Renia's family gathered tearfully, watching as the man accused of her murder faced a judge for the first time.
Our family is under grievance. We are devastated at this time. Renia, we love you. You know that. You know the heart of your family. You know the blood of this Lewis family would have never stopped looking for you.
From here, the defense will review discovery materials, including police reports, forensic results, and witness statements, while prosecutors prepare their case. Additional charges are possible depending on the autopsy findings and the outcome of the ongoing investigation. As the case moves through court, hearings will determine whether Shaw will stand trial, what evidence is admissible, and how the prosecution intends to present its theory of the crime. For now, Shaw faces a single count of murder. This case is still unfolding. What we've covered reflects everything publicly known as of now. Police have not yet released autopsy results, and many questions remain about how Renia and Shaw first crossed paths, what exactly happened inside that detached unit, and why the initial welfare check did not uncover her sooner. As court proceedings move forward, and as investigators share new findings, we'll continue to update this story. For Renia's family, the fight now turns to justice, not only for their daughter, but for the countless other women of color whose cases rarely receive the urgency they deserve.
I am devastated. That's my youngest daughter. Her birthday is on Monday. She would have been 29. What did she do to you for you to kill her and then put her in a wall? When he said, "We found your daughter," I just collapsed. I was like, I can't believe this. And I was praying. I said, God, please don't let it be her. Please don't let it be her. And he did not answer my prayer.
It's worth noting that Renia's disappearance never made it into mainstream news coverage until her body was discovered, hidden behind a wall. Before that, the only public notice came through California's Ebony Alert system, an alert designed specifically to raise visibility for missing Black women and youth. Though the outcome was devastating, the system worked as intended. It spread awareness quickly and mobilized attention. It's a model many argue should be adopted nationwide, not only so every missing Black woman or girl receives the urgency they deserve, but so that all marginalized groups whose disappearances are too often overlooked are given the same swift response as anyone else. According to her mother, Renia would have celebrated her 29th birthday on Monday. Now, instead of celebrating, her family is faced with the sorrowful task of laying her to rest. Rest in peace, Renia. This is under investigation. Thank you for watching.